painting class for Donny.
Studied.
And I'm doing my green too. It's a little bit. This is a little too dark. But... So is
You
that?
should be doing what you're doing there here.
Well, I'm trying to find. I'm testing it to see what it's going to look like when I pull it.
I got you.
And I don't think I would get that after layers after layers.
I think that comes from me doing my mixing on the canvas.
Yeah. Okay. Oop.
That's the
Let me walk
what do you
where I
call
can
it?
see.
The painter in the house painter in you.
Yeah, he likes his paint so sick.
Yeah, she says the same thing. I've been trained too long painting houses for thick paint coverage.
Well, look, this is drawing. That's what you're trying to achieve.
Look what she did real quick. Is that awesome or what?
No, right. Wait, look. This is too much. This is right. Now, let me demo on here. We were always taught in scientific illustration, you've got a shadow, but there's a cast light within the shadow. So within that, you still might have, and that's even just scraping off, you might have a few little highlights in there. Not as much as here, but on the shadow side, there's still going to be cast light shadows, highlights.
The veins of the branch are going to pop a little bit.
Because they're closer and catch the light.
They're going to catch the light.
So you would never leave it solid. That pencil didn't work, but you'd have just a hint of a little bit. See how that?
Yeah,
We
that
have a
helps make
cast.
it
It's called the cast
cast
light
shadow.
within the shadow.
Cast light within the shadow.
Mhm.
It's not a perfect shadow, in other words. Yeah.
No, there's still highlights within your shadow too.
So we're trying to make.
And don't be afraid to have a few little, you're kind of like, remember I was telling you you're mowing the grass?
Look at what she's pointing at, Donny.
Yeah, you want to lift off. See, that stroke was perfect when you added that extra little whisk.
Yeah, that extra little
So
wispy.
you got to have that full lift off. Watch my hand a minute. Don't stop here. You've got to have a lift off to get the wisps.
Lift off. We have lift off. All right. Okay, so this one is going to be on the dark side, so we're going to dupe.
Once you added 2 more strokes on top of that.
Oh, that right there?
Yeah.
I didn't get past it to do
It
the
was
next
perfect, and you added 1 more. So
Yep,
think
and then
of
I want to go out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's the end piece.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll cast that. Okay. All right.
So when you're doing palms, you should be, watch me a quick second. It should be 1, 2, 3, leave it alone. And you're doing 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It should be 1, 2, 3, you're done. So when you highlight, that's what I'm expecting.
I just did one, but
Yes.
it didn't go anywhere. It looked like a leaf instead of a
You gotta have a
palm.
little more swing in it, and
Yeah.
swing and lift off. So when you highlight, I don't want you to do
1,
3, I want you to do,
2.
yes! There you go.
Yeah.
And that's just your hardworking nature.
Okay. All right, so this is the downside.
Our
This is
nature feeds into our art. And that's what people value, is that artistic nature. That's why I was saying this is so whimsy. I don't think I'd get to, but I do like the wisp in it. Now that one's got a wood.
this
come
one needs.
out.
This is too solid. Yeah.
See, watch. The end has got to have that outward wisp.
That's.
It's like this one.
Look, 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 look.
It was up and out.
Okay.
Not too
well,
far
I'm gonna
either.
do. Whoop.
Smaller stroke. Yes! And then there's one straight out the end that you can't be
Right
very,
off.
yes, there
Okay.
you go. So light-handed is better.
Yeah.
Wisp a little bit right there.
Yay. All right, so that makes sense. That's the shadow.
That's
I'm
what you're
looking
going for.
Yeah, and then I need some more of that in here. And then this
I think
one
you're ready
being-
for highlight in there. You have enough thickness of paint
Mhm.
that your little icing on the cake with the little highlight is all you need.
Okay.
That's where you gotta.
Mr. C wants to put one here.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Well, I'm
Now
sorry.
you're
Leave that
in the groove now. You're
Okay,
feeling the stroke.
that's the groove. All right, that's the groove. All right, and do you feel like there's enough dark in here?
Yes, you
Enough
just,
dark in there.
and that is your shadow side. If we determine that light source is here,
Right.
then your more highlights here, and only the cast, shadow, and hint of highlights on that side, like light peeking.
I would.
Like light peeking through there would give you a little bit of
Right
highlight in there.
Right. Well, this I feel like should be a little darker. There should be one
Yes.
more dark in here. All right, so I'm going for that. Going for that. Touch of water. Okay, pushing out, highlighting. Oop. Unload the brush. Push in. And then let's go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
And then you.
Gotta finish which
Wait a
way
minute.
here?
I'm going to point with this, and I'm not
Yeah,
going to do it.
Point.
But you're going to take that brush and just whisk the middle of where the tip of the vein comes out.
There. Oop, too much.
There's going to be one that whisks downwards
Mm-hmm.
in between those two that you got.
I definitely gotta tap some of that off.
She's saying come down.
Okay, this way.
Yes. That was it.
All right. You can tell she's teaching a bunch of classrooms, but full of kids.
Yeah.
All right, that one makes sense. That one makes sense.
All right, you keep going
Okay.
over the same one.
All
She
right.
said don't do.
Gotta put some lighter on that. That's a little bit too much.
Not now. While it's wet, you're going to, well, you can do it, but then it's
Might
going
be
to
able to
tend to
get
be muddy. That's where you're getting your muddy. Let the acrylic has to dry a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yep, sure does.
So if you
Which
can
I'm
hit
very
it,
hard on waiting to do.
if you can hit it with one stroke, all right, eyeballs. If you can hit it with one stroke and highlight and get it right, good. But 3 more strokes is where your overworking's happening. And
I
so
try to do it like 2 colors.
I try to highlight one time, and if it was too much paint, it's oversaturated, it's not working, then I let the acrylic dry, go work somewhere else, and then I come back and do that one wisp.
Try to fix.
And you're in the middle of the wet paint trying to go 1, 2, 3.
I'm trying to
and
fix it.
flattening everything out. So I give myself one try to hit that highlight. If I didn't get it, then I let the acrylic dry and come back and add that highlight.
Okay. So I can flip that a little lighter later. So now it's time to do the veins.
Not until the
few
highlights
str-
on there.
You have to do the highlights first.
So you need to, since this is your wettest area, start back up wherever you want your highlights here.
Okay.
And by the time you
Same
get
brush, or am I going to that skinny brush? Or
whichever one's making you feel good.
okay, I'm still
Brushes
doing
are a
highlights
personal
then.
thing.
Okay.
But so what I do is, since that's wet, I start back over
Yeah.
here, and by the time I get there, it will have firmed up enough that I can add it.
I agree. Yeah, I kind of do
I
sky,
kinda
then I
work
do ground,
from
then I do
one-
clouds, then I do mountains, then I do this, okay. Okay, so now the highlight choice. This is completely different families of paint. So what would you do? So you feel like
that is a
this one's yours, this one's
transparent.
mine.
So I don't think that's going to give you enough highlight. I do
don't.
think you need to go to there.
Yeah, I believe that too. Okay, so dip one edge in, dip it straight, pull off.
That's I was a little oversaturated.
Yeah.
And you can do like this to
Oh yeah, and
fan
then fan it to get it even. I've got to buy stiffer brushes. I haven't been buying stiff enough brushes for this part of the job.
Especially when you're a heavy-handed person, strong man, you need something that holds up. And
Okay.
those are actually oil painting brushes, but I like
Yeah,
them for
I like.
acrylic.
That's why I never
For
bought
texture.
them.
For texture, they're good.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm sure that this one right here is catching full sun. Right here, I know he's catching full sun.
Hold on, let's talk lighting. Would the sun hit back there, or would it be lighter here?
Right up at the front.
Mm-hmm.
But like that, or see, there's the stem. So I want to start at the stem and pull this way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So start at the stem. Whoop. Oops, see, I didn't push
Okay.
down hard enough.
What you would do is here and wisp out, but you want more highlight here and not much there. So
Well,
start here
I
and
don't
then
want to
as
block
you
my red thing there. I want this leaf to be down
Yeah.
and not block the red.
start here, and then as you get to there, it'll be less paint because you will have used it out here. So you're going to reload,
Reload.
start here, wisp, and then here just tap on in.
Now, I'm seeing the leaf differently than you.
Okay.
So
Yes.
I'm seeing this as the stem that I want to grow out from. Here is the leaf going this way, and you were saying this way. So where were you thinking the center of the leaf was? Here or down here? Okay. There's your center of the leaf. Okay. All right. So then, what do you want me to start? Oh,
So you press on the vein and wisp away.
yeah. Press on the vein and wisp away. See, it's not.
You got to go straight. Yeah, that's good. Don't.
Okay. I went too
Don't
many
keep-
times.
When I say good, don't do 2 more strokes.
I'm turning the brush over.
There.
No, see, that didn't. I didn't have enough on. I'm not understanding the brush as much, but this will help. That's why it didn't come off. I didn't have any water yet.
So
Probably.
I have to use water with the heavy body.
Yep.
That's why I use liquid sometimes when because I
Okay,
don't
so
have to add as much water. to it.
Brushing off, touching in. I'll go for a different spot this time. All right, if this is the dark side, this would be the light side. Okay, so I'm gonna go,
There you go.
and then a little bit of a off the tip. All right.
This
Right. Okay, need more
a
paint.
little. See how it's creating the vein.
I'm creating the vein, correct?
So you're putting too much of a gap between stroke. There you go, and then wisp from that. There you go.
Okay, don't touch down there.
Think
All
how
right.
the gravity's pulling it.
All right. Phew. I'm getting it, but not yet.
You're getting it. Keep
Getting
going
on there,
until
getting
you
on
start to
there.
feel the flow of the palm.
The flow of the palm.
There, that's it. There, you got it.
Okay.
My first palm frond is never my best one.
No. I just hate starting over, but I can tell that's what I need to do.
That's not the way gravity's going.
Right.
So
That's
take your
right.
dark. This has not got paint on it, but take
Right.
your dark and wisp back that little shadow. But if gravity's pulling it, this frond would be going this way. Your frond would be going that way, and these would be going that way. You got to think gravity, unless the wind blew it backwards.
Which
Yours are
we're not
windy.
we're not showing a windy day, so
That way, not up.
yeah.
That would go this way, downwards.
Mhm.
Okay, you are very aware of the vein.
I'm very aware of the vein.
I need eyeballs because art is visual and I'm showing you visual.
Okay.
The vein. So to one side of the vein, they're going in this direction. Your stroke needs to go from the vein, but also in the direction the vein is pointing. So if this
From
palm
thick to
frond,
thin.
yeah, so the vein's running here, then the frond are coming from the vein and outwards in the direction that the vein is pointing.
You lived
And
in
so you
Florida
were
for
coming.
a long time. You
So
know
if this
what
is the
palms are like.
vein, you were kind of come back in. That's only if there's gravity. I don't know how to verbalize that,
Well.
but that's closer what you got.
you know, I understand if we say that's the vein there, that's going to be my vein. And
Okay. So these are your palm fronds. Your brush stroke would start at the vein. It's harder to do on canvas, and wisp down and out. And if this is one where it's double-sided, it's still going in the direction of this vein, but it's wisping out, and then you stick one on the end. So you're gotta follow. That's why I start with my security blanket lines, because it lets me know what I'm wisping off of. But I'm not going back this way until my detailing. So watch this one more time. If this vein's here, then that frond is coming. It's not wisping off in my hands.
wow, those are the easy ones. That one was a difficult one.
That one's because you got the wind blowing in it, which I like. But do you see how it's coming from the vein? And you were going this way with it, which is against it. It should
Correct.
come out
and
towards
I know,
the end of the vein.
Yes, because I was seeing I turned it around in my head of which way the flow goes. Yeah.
So
I
that's,
didn't see
remember
that
me
at
asking
all.
you, do you need a security blanket line when we were testing over here? That's why I have the security blanket line to let me know which way my brush is going to whisk.
Mhm. So that vein's going to be right.
I love the curve of that frond.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I mean,
I
and
like
even
that curve.
That actually is not bad right there.
No,
It's-
because some of the wind would cast some back.
Yeah.
There's okay, that was a structural rule, and in art you know the rules, but then you break it as
according to
the
what
world
you need. Yeah.
is affecting it.
I could increase the vein on this one. Maybe lighten this up, put a little put
As
the
a
lighter
highlight.
color to yeah.
But would
'cause
that
it's just
highlight
not
cover that
bad.
whole thing?
No, it won't.
It
It's
would
gonna
only
peek
be
through.
a little bit on the top half. You wouldn't come all the way down to here. It would only be a little bit, because look at the curve of that. Watch the curve of that frond. The highlight would only be hitting right in here. It wouldn't come all the way out to the end.
Correct. Yeah,
On that dark side of the
shade,
frond.
the shading of this one is really good, actually. This one's catching the light. This one's going to be in the shade. Do I? Boy.
That's your whimsy,
Yeah.
whimsical one, and I didn't want you to lose that whimsy.
This one here.
Yes, that's. It's
It-
not
it's
anatomical.
blowing.
It's whimsical.
Right, because now the vein, I'm not going to touch
So
it, but
you
I'm
need to
seeing
roll with it.
I'm seeing the vein on this one coming down this way
Mm-hmm.
and tucking in there, and then that shadowing's good. This one needs a little bit more life to it. It's not quite a prawn. It's too thick, so I'm going to go.
That's where you got to get the wispy, and that's why I was encouraging
dark.
the not so much paint on a stiffer brush, or
No.
you can go to this and have very intentional. Either that's your lightest light, so you could even have some more of this. You can cover this up if you don't like it. I don't know if it's going to be bright enough, but see, you could have some really intentional. Don't overblend.
Peeking through. 'Cause my
Brightest. It's
question to
called
you
the
is,
brightest bright.
if I like this, but it's solid, how do I make it broken again?
That's that brush.
Okay.
So
Instead
then you
of-
can
instead
add
of trying to redo the whole
definitive
thing?
shadow and definitive highlight.
Okay.
This brush, fan brush, was to get the basic structure, and then you go in with your detailing brush. Icing on the cake.
Mhm.
Brightest brights, darkest darks. One stroke, not three. Or 30 million.
I'm not sure what to do with this here either, but it should match this one. It should be going.
So yours is a really windy day for that sailboat.
Yeah, it is. And
But
some
if you
palms,
get that crazy with that, then this will need more waves.
it'll need more weight.
This is a calm
Oh,
ocean.
She said you might need to put more waves in.
more wind. More
Little
wind
wispies, whites, to know that there's wind hitting the water.
I see this as one leaf. This is the lower half, this is the upper half, this is the vein.
And the wind got a hold of that upper half to push it that way. So it's telling me in
Right.
your palm, your wind is whirling it, and that does happen, but not on a calm ocean.
And where you just painted, now that it's drying, it actually is making perfect sense.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's actually almost to be left alone. As soon as I add a few
So that
more.
was what I was trying to get you to, is this is where you come in and do your fine tuning. But this is intended to get it done, lay in your shape, and not have to work so hard. Because if you had to do that whole tree with this, you would be a million years. But
Oh, sure. And of course, I should have finished this one and this one before I did the,
I do my trunks first.
because I'm having trouble not messing with the trunk
Yes.
when it comes to getting the fronds to go behind it. And I was like, oh, I should not have put this trunk in until this and this were done. Then I would've-
If you want one behind, okay, don't get in your head on that. If I decide that I want a palm behind it, I paint my trunks first. And then if I decide, oh, that palm frond needs to go behind it, I paint the palm frond and then retouch the trunk back in front. That's just part of the process.
Okay, that's just normal. Don't try to beat yourself up over that.
Because really it's very easy. Then all you got to do is sharpen up your shadow and bring your highlight more intense in front, and you got it. So if I were really wanting to nail that frond, I'd go on and paint it and then bring my trunk back in front.
Okay. I was thinking that it would look touched up. You know?
Yeah, sometimes. Those are,
Okay.
sometimes they're happy accidents and sometimes they're a pain in the butt.
And I like this shadow. What else could I do? Little or tiny or something or other, fuzzies. This went from here over to here and up here and down here, and I just cut it all out and left that. And I thought, now it doesn't really make a lot of sense unless I put the water around it or try to connect these two in some way by another piece in the middle, as though, okay, it used to be one piece, now it's broken up. Do I need a
When the
dot
surf
or-
comes in and pulls back out, is this surf?
Yeah, that's surf too. So I'm just
My
kind of,
recommendation on that would be to take some white, watery white, and pull that way to show that the water's on the sand. But the same, if there's something water.
candy. Oh, I don't like this at all.
Let me borrow this brush.
There, I like that better now. Oh, you know what else I wanted to do? I wanted you to show me how to do those water lines. I see a lot of paintings, you know that little line that goes up to the top? It's always got those squiggly little, 100 different little barely visible.
All right, we're gonna
white
start
lines.
step before that. That's the icing on the cake step.
Don't worry about that.
When you're
then.
doing water, this is actually some what I call watery white, like Bob Ross does.
Watery white.
So with your surf, this is along the lines of what you does not know. With your surf in there, then you take that same brush, not with more paint, and just wisp. And then you'd have to have blue back under there to show that that faded into the blue. And that's the same thing you would reverse that. It needs to be a lot more transparent than that, where you don't lose the sand.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
I have to sit down and just practice palm trees for a little while, but I'm not in Florida. I need to practice mountains and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Well, you need a variety. You need to show a variety.
so if this is my sand, So it's a little wet for what I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah, just dry it off. It'll be fine.
It should be stained enough. That actually is some cool texture.
Ooh, that's nice looking.
So if that's sand and it's trying, the water, the surf came over the water this way, then what I was saying is you pull. If you don't want it as wispy, fan brush is faster, but if you don't want it as wispy, use a flat brush. So this, to me, is that's your front edge of the surf would be on this side, and then the wisp would be right there where the ocean's pulling the water back off the sand.
Mm-hmm.
This is a wave, that's surf pulling back into the
Yeah, I see it as
ocean.
coming in here and washing that way.
Yeah, so you're here, the front edge is your lightest light, and this is wisping and fading. It's fading on that side.
Yes.
This would be your whitest white, and it would be fading and pulling back into the ocean that way. And that would make this line make sense if you had a little bit of white or silvery white over that beige. It would be pulling back into ocean from here.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a different kind of crest. There's your shadow, and you'd have that, what I was trying to show here, you'd have that wispy, and then whatever your blue is, you have to
Oh
soften
yeah,
with
what
blue
brush
into
were
the
you
front.
just using with the white? Where's the white brush? Yeah. So
You and I always
You're-
talk too many different.
yours can come down a little bit more over the lip so that the blue shows up underneath like that and wisp it back that way, or you're saying no, you want to come
There's a little bit about wait. Wait. So that's the crest coming over. So yes, correct.
That's correct. Okay.
But here it would be coming this way because it's pulling like right there, like that. And then you got to kind of soften that pretty quickly. Take a little water. Soften it into your color. You really would need a little bit more of that teal to make it. That's not turning out like I want. You see, that's got to pull that way because the surf is pulling, and then you would take your teal and soften underneath it a little bit.
Okay, let me just do this real quick and see if that does what we want.
It's
Because
not
I'm trying to
enough
get that
intentional.
curl. Trying to get that little bit of curl.
So that's the top edge of the wave.
Yeah, top edge of the wave. And then the back of the wave, I put more teal on the back. I add some teal and put it on the back. I must have touched the yellow. Touched the yellow. That's another irritating thing when you all of a sudden you got the wrong color on your brush.
So turn, and then you got the clean side of it.
So I just had a little bit of that yellow out. Good, it came out.
Which is another reason to dip over here, not there.
Mm-hmm. Dirty. There it is right there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You have blot off syndrome.
so we go down. Mm-hmm. And then I'm gonna just go here. I would actually have to be on a beach looking at this to really be able to see what I'd like to see. I'd like to see the color up underneath there, and I'd like to do the little
Yes,
thing
it
where
helps you.
when you have the water and then you have a little bit of white and you do the little squiggly,
Waves have
squiggly line.
Yeah. How'd you get? Oh,
Oh, the heck is that got green in it?
because this brush was laying in the middle there. That's why I moved it off, but it had rolled into the yellow.
Yeah, well.
Or maybe it was me
We're
painting
both,
that highlight.
yeah. I forgive me. All right, so just white. But there, okay, and it's nice and thin. And then trying to,
That's pretty intense on your brush.
gets too much.
Water helps you do those transparent things.
Something like that. I like those And then it comes off this way, and that way, and this way, and that way, and you keep building on it. I've seen it done, watched them do it, do the water thing that you sent me and stuff like that. That one was too jumpy to catch, the one water thing you sent me how to paint waves. They didn't.
While it's wet, if you have an old ready brush, cut it. I call it a stubby brush. And then you can scrub and soften things to kind of tone them back, push them back.
Mm-hmm. If the scrubby's a little wet, would that help?
I think it got too dry. It dried before I could get to it.
Before I got to it.
So then you'd have to get back into that teal to...
Mm-hmm. Practice it again. Mm-hmm. I'm looking... Yeah, I'm kind of looking for that thing of that, okay, I gotta have this. You know, this is nice, it's good, but it's not a I gotta have it paint.
Oop.
Gotta have it. You want me to try to find that color?
No, hang on.
I might have it.
Okay, watch here.
Okay, watching.
Because I really don't need much of it. It came out more than I wanted. So by it being watery, you can tint it. And that's where you can come back in, even with a stubby brush.
A little bit more.
I'm trying to ease into it so don't kill what you did. See how that kind of sets it back? Because it's in water anyway. And I was wanting to get a little deeper like you had, because there's some phthalo green in that aqua. And sometimes a stubby brush is good for scrubbing texture.
These are the two colors I was using. Was Viridian and Ocean Green.
Mm-hmm.
These are the two colors that are there.
How'd you get this darker color?
I don't know.
But by putting a little back over it, it's not as stark. And there's nothing wrong with the old brush turned into a scrubby brush for shading and blending and softening.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, these look on top and they should be underneath.
Yeah.
So is this is a rolling wave like that?
Yeah, that's a rolling wave.
Then
like
this is where you take that white and it goes in the curve of the wave. There's not enough water in that brush.
Are you doing the back up curve?
The underside.
The underside, okay.
That's a little too far, so we'd have to take something to get.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's get into that. But it's needing to come from there like that. This is not my best demo, but you see how that's making that look like it rolls? Now that's
And
that's
that
gotta go
is
darker.
Still, but it's still darker. It hasn't lost its backside curl. I see that. So, right. See, I am not doing the backside curl.
There you go. That's what I was trying to do. You have to play back and forth between both colors.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna need a little darker. Back up under there to create that shadow.
Right.
So this is that contrast that would be up under, because that's really fixing to crash down.
Mm-hmm.
The other
But
thing,
then if you do this over that, that gives the backward side of the wall.
it gives you the pull, but here, if that's the biggest part of the swell,
Correct.
there's not much of this.
Correct. You're already curled past this.
Mm-hmm.
This curl is down here. Therefore, you don't have to show all of that. Uh-huh.
This part would actually have the wisp of the white going that way, showing the highlight of this light on that big swell.
Right. You're deepening.
There's a lot of directions in that too.
You're not kidding.
Because
I watch it, but I can't seem to reproduce it with my hand.
There's no paint on here. This would be pulling and swooshing over, and then this would have the sharp white for the intensity. So it would come here and swoosh over, because that's the direction of the water. And then you'd have to intense white right here where it's about to crash.
So this is way too straight. And then this is the back of this wave. So this needs to be a little higher to show this part has come over the back. Yeah. I've watched this on film. I've watched videos.
If you're
of people
wanting to
doing
get
waves.
that much realism to it, that's where you've got to go with this. Or you can say, I'm Grandma Moses and doing it my own style and simplify it.
I mean, I did think that was kind of peaceful and calm. I like the shadow. I just want the wave to come over.
But if you're going to go the route of these squiggles and all of that, that's a whole other ballgame. And I do like the peacefulness that you had of this, which would mean just get rid of all of this and let it be and say, that's my style for this painting until I grow. I think with what you're trying to do, you're going to lose the peacefulness of that. It's a very calm
detail.
ocean.
By too much detail. Okay.
And then this is getting more whimsical.
Yeah, I'm liking that a lot.
So you got to decide, where is that line between my realism and my whimsy, and be at peace with that, not let it create a sense of conflict. And I tend to be a realistic painter, and I don't want to dampen your whimsy.
I tend to be realistic, and whimsy is literally not my.
So I'm seeing when it just happens. Yes.
I'm seeing that, but I looked at your photograph and I went, oh, boom, 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 and there it was. And I went, that's a great first coat, but I need to know. And she said this because of the lighting is coming from here. I don't have to worry about shading. I don't have to put the shadow.
Because your
of this
shadows
front.
are on this side.
Yeah, so that's good.
And that shadow would be out of the
Yes.
plane of the picture.
Yep. So that's good.
But with him being so like windy looking on that, doesn't he need more waves then?
Doesn't have
Because
to.
he has
Unless
all
he's
this
gonna-
already going in the
Unless
windy
he's
direction.
going to pull the
Yeah.
artist license card and say, this is the way I wanted
And
it.
these palms would be,
Yes.
if all the palms were blowing that way, I would say yeah. But a lot of them are, I'm not sure what to do with this. I think maybe I'll darken the bottom of this and do the light.
Yes. This whole side of your painting is calm. You went whimsy only there. So what I was trying to get you to branch out
Windy.
is one of these fronds, also to create depth. This is washable, so if you don't like what I do, it can come off. But one of these, let's let that one do it. One of these fronds needs to come up in there to bring it in front of that. It could even come up this high and have another one that's about right there. Do you see how you mowed your grass right there? So by giving yourself a few randoms that come out just a bit more, you're creating some of that whimsy and offsetting, but you're also not mowing the grass.
Okay. Does this look good as far as?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Okay.
I don't give out enough compliments. I'm a worker bee kind of person, and I'll say did this, but
If you don't say anything, that's good.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So when I texted you about giving a few coming up,
I tried.
this coat,
I tried.
that whiteness
I started
stuff,
over and still did
that
it more.
white stuff would be on the end of the yellow white would be on the end of this, and that's a coat because they are higher than the grasses. Their flower comes higher, and then I'd bring, and what I did by coming in front of that was also create depth to say this is forward and that wave is behind it.
The photograph shows them all jumbled and tight together with, it was really like unpaintable. It was so detailed, the photograph of I went sea goats. I typed it in, and it doesn't even look anything close to this. This is a...
So if he added more waves, would he add them like at the boat and the buoy and stuff?
What he was doing here should be a little bit in there. Like if the wind's blowing, this would be causing ripples in the water, so you'd have some whites in here. And I'd usually tend to diagonally lead the eye, but it would be there. If you do all that, then you can get into all of this.
Gotta balance it. Yeah, I might just get rid of that. I don't know. I'm trying to keep to the colors.
Okay, remember the rule of thirds we talked about?
Yes.
You have one, it creates a bullet where your eye gets stuck.
Yes, third, third, third.
Okay, now also rule of thirds is objects.
Okay.
You have one object, it's creating a bullseye.
Yes, it is.
If you add one more, notice I didn't put it right there like Donny would do. I put it down here. If you have two, then your eye's going back and forth between the two. But if you have three, then your eye flows through the composition. That's a compositional rule. You have to have at least three of something. Because if you have one, it's a bullseye. If you have two, it's static. If you have three, your eye flows through.
They do that with decorating too. Like decorating, they like it to be like
you have one red pillow, that red pillow is going to stick out.
Yeah.
So that's why they have more than one of the accent pillows.
Yeah.
Actually, you could count that as one, two, and then have another one here.
And we'll bring this one up a little bit. Yeah. And then this one would have a little ring of white around it. If I put it right there, it would have well, this would have to change because
or
now
it could be further over. It's just this sticks out like it's
not there.
A visual.
I could turn it into a sea turtle going in the water. I don't know.
Was that an intentional wisp?
But I didn't like it.
You just needed more of it. You needed to own it.
Because see, I'm thinking this is coming off. You're thinking it's going under.
Because it's sucking it into this. It's going to fall and crest.
And I have not been able to grasp the
So it's
back.
sucking it in this way. That's coming over the top. Here's a big one. So it's also
really
pulling
good.
from the back. Was why I was saying you got to come that way and over. Maybe bring that swell a little bit bigger because that's your biggest swell. There's pull this way and pull that way to create that wave. The water's coming in and creating a swell, and the water's pulling back.
This is the curve of the water being sucked in is coming this way.
Now I would let that get narrower and narrower. I wouldn't do that
I like
stuff
that.
anywhere
I really
below
like
that.
this double shadow here.
I do too.
That double shadow right there shows that wave is overhanging that water.
So you would just take what you were doing and that one, again, like that rule of thirds, my eye's stuck there. But if you had more wisps there, it would make sense. But just make sure you don't do big, thick paint where you lose that shadow that's behind it.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It's got to be transparent. Water is transparent.
Which would make this almost crashing at the moment and should have...
So it can stay flat right there.
Yes. Yeah, it could stay flatter.
You don't want to baptize this everywhere.
Yeah. This is... If I could just make that happen again.
I don't think you need... Where's the white pencil? I don't think you need a bunch of this kind of stuff everywhere because this is almost like it's crashing and all that's going on behind it that we don't see. It's not in our plane of vision. I would just do... is that white showing up yet? I would do some of it here and let it taper to there. Just a little more here and a little there. And then you've got a little in here.
Yeah.
Out there where you don't see that much. Our eyes don't see this as you get out there. It does look like that as you go further out. and by the time it gets back in here, it's just little squiggles. This one needs something, and I'm trying to think what to do.
Well, not so straight
I think
in a
that
line.
one's got to have the same thing of those. That's the wrong direction. Wisps. It's got to have the wisp under that.
Okay. The inside curve.
The inward pull
The inward curve.
that's going
And
up into there.
This inward curve, after I finish this inward curve, I could bump the top of this like I did there to take away the straight line, not make it such
Yes.
a perfectly
Yes.
straight.
And how you turn your brush does that. Thick paint in a curvy motion, not the Donny straight. I'm trying to break him out of the straight world. He's got a very linear approach.
Very linear.
That's for
And I'm
painting, painting.
Mhm.
Painting straight lines
Trim.
for too
And I'm
long.
trying to get him to be more it's called being
Yeah.
organic, more organic in curves.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're tackling nature, and nature's more organic than it is straight.
Thanks for subscribing, hitting the like button, sharing Donnie out. Thank you for watching.